Good evening, everyone. It's Dr. Patmos, and it is Saturday, October the 4th, 2025. And I thought I would do a little video for you, try to clear the air and eliminate some confusion and perhaps provide some enlightenment into our illegal immigration problem. I've heard it talked about all my life about immigration and illegal immigration. I think I can remember when I was young, Cesar Chavez and protests regarding the rights of migrant farm workers and so forth. And certainly in California, the legacy of the migrant workers is very well known. So I've done a little more research on this recently because I admit I'm not an expert on this, and I was quite surprised to learn a few things. First of all, the United States has relied upon migrant workers, low skilled migrant workers mostly from Mexico, for decades, for 50 years, 100 years. We are a big nation. We have a lot of people, and we need a lot of agricultural workers. We don't have near enough agricultural workers, especially low skilled farm workers, to pick fruits and vegetables in this country. There's not enough people here to do that. So we have, for close to a century, relied upon people who are migrant workers. And for most of that time, it was never really worried about. I mean, nobody really cared whether they had visas or not. It really wasn't until the 70s that and early 80s that this became a political issue. And for those who don't remember, Ronald Reagan, when he was president, got in the middle of this whole immigration mess and granted amnesty to millions of illegal workers that were in the United States, many in California at that time. The rest of the Republican Party wasn't all that happy with what Reagan did, so they required that these workers have to have visas, but it has to be employer sponsored. So here's an aha that I didn't realize until recently. We have millions of undocumented illegal workers in agriculture and working as maids and landscapers all across the United States, millions of them. We need tens of millions of these low skilled workers. There aren't enough Americans to do this work or willing to do this work. This is low paid work. So we need these people. And we have for decades allowed them in without really putting up much of a fuss about it. In order for these folks to get a visa, they are not allowed by law. And if you read below, I put in information about all the various types of visas. And it is shocking how many visas that immigrants can't apply for themselves. They can only obtain them if an employer sponsors them. So here's the catch 22. We need millions of migrant farm workers and other low skilled workers. They can't apply for visas themselves. They're barred by law. So they have no choice but to enter illegally and to work in the United States illegally. We've forced them into that position because they can't, by law, apply for a visa. The only way they can get a visa is if the employer sponsors them, which requires paperwork, lawyers, and it also requires the employer has to document that there are no available American workers, that they will provide housing and abide by the employment laws, which means paying minimum wage. Well, they're not going to do that. So the employers largely, especially in big agribusiness, largely just disregard these rules. They just take these workers in illegally, employ them illegally, give them less than minimum wage, and then along comes a politician, a president who wants power. And what does a fascist do? A fascist picks on the other, whoever that other may be. In in um, in Italy in 1922, it was union workers. In Germany in 1933, it was Jews and others, but mainly Jews. And today, with the fascists in power in the United States today, the other that they're targeting, there's a few others, is illegal immigrants, Latinos, and LGBTQ people, people with transgender transgender people. These are, and blacks, of course, these are the people, the other, that the fascists are turning into the enemy. So here's what fascists do. They go to you, the average American racist out there, you may not even know you're racist, and they appeal to your racist core by telling you things about these illegal immigrants and they're dirty, filthy criminals, the worst of the worst. They've emptied, all the things Trump has said. They emptied out the insane asylums and sent all these bad people here. And so they get people hating on these immigrants, and then that allows them to then do things like round them up, beat them up, put them in cages, incarcerate them, put them in cages in alligator Alcatraz, and then deport them someplace else where they're not even from. So this is the cruel reality of what the United States is doing to these people. We need them, we allow them in, then we castigate them, beat them up, and deport them. That's really sweet. So here's the important point for you to know. Many of these illegal immigrants have no choice but to be illegal. We force that status upon them because we won't allow them to apply for visas on their own. So this is the country that you're part of. So if you're part of this, dumping on illegal alien thing, I hope you understand what you're doing. You are picking on a group of people that they can't by in any way be legal. They have to be illegal because they can't apply for a visa. Did you know that? Well, now you do.